Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Turbo Mock. If you're brand new to the channel, we do Turbo Mocks over here. What this means is we take about 10 seconds to explain each pick. That way we don't get stuck rambling on and taking up about 30 minutes for a whole mock draft. There's plenty of other channels where they go really in depth for every single pick. We like to streamline my information straight to you guys. That way I'm not taking up too much of you guys' day. It's an easy to digest, quick mock draft that keeps it nice and light and not too long to watch for the viewer. If you guys are into that kind of thing, I suggest you hit the subscribe button down below and let's get right into this thing. First things first, in this specific draft, we're going to trade the Raiders right up to the first overall. There's a lot of rumors about them trading for Aaron Rodgers. We've mocked that scenario in the past, but in this one, we're going to trade right up to the first overall and take QB1. So to get this deal done, we're going to send the 7th overall, the 38th overall, a first in 2024, a second that same year, as well as another first in 2025. I'm not sure how accurate this kind of trade would be, but the first overall normally gets a haul. We're just going to go with this and force it. There could always be players involved, but we're not getting complex with it. Now with the Raiders on the clock, they're going to go ahead and take Bryce Young. I believe that's QB1. It's pretty much consensus at the moment. Unless he comes in at like 175 pounds, that's probably going to be the first quarterback off the board. The second overall, the Texans are going to go ahead and take CJ Stroud. He's clearly the QB2 in this class. They get a brand new coach, a brand new offensive coordinator. They're also going to bring in a brand new quarterback, and they're going to start this thing over from scratch. The Cardinals are on the clock, and they're going to take Will Anderson. I believe that Will Anderson is the best player in the class. If not, it's Bryce Young. I think he's a really rare edge type player. You're not going to get a better speed rusher or someone with as much power in his hands as someone like Will Anderson here at number 3 overall. Jim Irsay's been very vocal about getting his quarterback of the future. He's very interested in this rookie class. In this mock, he misses out on CJ Stroud as well as Bryce Young. So we're going to take Will Levis. For my money, I think this is a bit of a reach, but this is a desperate position of need. They're going to go ahead and get a rookie quarterback here. The Seahawks make out like a bandit here with Jalen Carter still on the board. This is a player who's worthy of the first overall pick, and he falls here to the 5th overall. You plug him right into the defensive line, and you're going to be able to stuff the run as well as get after the quarterback way better than you were before. Really good value pick here by the Seahawks. The cornerback position is normally one that creeps up as the draft gets closer. Players like Devin Witherspoon, Joey Porter Jr., and Christian Gonzalez are all in the same tier for me. I think they're all very, very good cornerback prospects. We're going to switch it up and go with Joey Porter Jr. here at 6 overall. The Detroit Lions are going to get a complimentary piece alongside Jeff Okudah, and I think there's a real chance that Joey Porter Jr. is the best cornerback in this class. Now, in this situation, the Bears don't get the elite of the elite edge rusher in the class. They miss out on Will Anderson, but they can still settle with Tyree Wilson here. They just got a ton of picks from the Raiders, and they're still going to get a very good edge prospect to be able to strengthen that defensive line. You're starting to build pieces on that team, and I believe you're getting an immediate playmaker on day one when you select this guy. There's no team in the draft that needs an edge rusher more than the Atlanta Falcons. They're the league's worst pass rush, and draft Twitter is going nuts over this Lucas Van Ness guy. He's a raw, powerful edge rusher out of Iowa. His upside is immense because his frame is so damn big, and he's so powerful and fast and twitchy. We're going to follow some of the draft buzz here and take him for the Falcons. Taking Anthony Richardson to the Carolina Panthers is one of my favorite picks in the entire draft. I think here at pick 9, you can swing for some upside without feeling super guilty if it doesn't pan out. There's plenty of weapons that'll be around Anthony Richardson. The offensive line isn't terrible, but if this guy pans out, you found yourself a star at the 9th overall. Arguably my favorite player in the entire class is Devin Witherspoon. James Bradberry is on his way out the door. He said he'd like to stay with the Eagles, but he is going to be demanding a lot of money. We're going to get him a nice young corner who could be the CB1 in this class, who has some very dominant tape, and just shore up that CB2 spot while also having the upside of being an elite CB1. We're on the clock with the Titans. By the sounds of it, Taylor Lewan might be out the door, or he's just going to retire. He said he was expected to be cut. Either way, we're going to go get him a tackle, one with some offensive line versatility, and he very well might be the best tackle in this class. Peter Skoronski is probably consensus offensive tackle 1. We're just going to go ahead and snag him here at 11 and do a complete transition from Taylor Lewan to a rookie tackle. We're on the clock with the Texans after taking CJ Stroud. Now this might be a little bit of a reach pick, but they're going to take Quentin Johnston here at 12. The scouts aren't in love with this guy anymore. I think the tape shows a little bit of inconsistency as a catcher. He doesn't play up to size. Although he is a freak athlete, it feels like he's starting to fall down the draft board a little bit here. I think we're just going to pair CJ Stroud with a good wide receiver prospect in Quentin Johnston. He might not get drafted this high in the real draft, but we're going to just pair him with CJ Stroud anyway. So with Aaron Rodgers not going to the Raiders, that leaves one more place for him to go. The Jets are going to trade this 13th overall pick to the Packers to go ahead and get Aaron Rodgers on their roster. I don't exactly know what it'll cost to go get Aaron Rodgers, but we're just going to force this trade with just the 13th overall here. Then with the 13th overall, they're going to take Jackson Smith and Jigba. This is a reliable slot receiver. If Jordan Love is going to be the QB of the future, you want to surround him with some elite talent, and I think JSN is just that. My Pats are on the clock, and they're going to take Broderick Jones. This is my dream pick at 14. 14. It'll be a blessing if he's here in the real draft. We just need so much help up front. We need a franchise left tackle if Mac Jones is going to be the future. I think Broderick Jones is just really impressive on tape. His upside is massive because he's so damn strong. And I think we might be getting a steal here at 14. We're going to stop the fall of Miles Murphy here. This is another player whose ADP has been falling as of late. I haven't heard his name too much in the scouting circles, and normally no news isn't good news. Although I do like the player, it wouldn't surprise me just from what I hear that he falls outside the top 10. Packers are going to improve their pass rush. They're missing Zadarius Smith a little bit, and you can never have too many good edge guys. The Commanders are going to get a really good value pick here with Christian Gonzalez. He might be my CB1 right now. I think he's an amazing player, super fluid, very big. He has a great production profile. There's so much to like about this guy, and the Commanders really need to improve that secondary. The Steelers also get a blessing here with Paris Johnson Jr. still on the board. This team just needs tackles on both the left and right side. You're getting a damn good player here at 17, one that you're going to be able to build around, and Kenny Pickett's going to love him. The Detroit Lions are on the clock here. This team could greatly benefit from a good defensive tackle, specifically one that could get after the quarterback as well. Ryan Brzee from Clemson does exactly that. He has a real Dan Campbell vibe to me. He's kind of like a hard-nosed football player. He plays with a relentless motor, and you're going to stick him right next to Aiden Hutchinson, and you're going to love it. I believe he'll be a better NFL player than he was in college. Hopefully he can stay away from some of the injuries, but his upside is very high as a defensive tackle. I tend to get stuck here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady just left. They're over the cap by so much. We'll see what free agency looks like for them, but they just need so many players. So we're just going to get them a really good player here in Michael Mayer. You're going to be able to get 5 years with this guy, and whatever quarterback is the quarterback of the future, whether it's Caleb Williams next year, you're going to have a second-year tight end who has a really elite profile right now. I think this is just a case of getting good players on your roster, and the roster as a whole is kind of in a bad spot right now, as well as the coaching. I've taken guards and centers here for the Seahawks in the past. We just got Jalen Carter for him on the defensive line. We're going to hammer it again with Will McDonald. I think he's too good of a defensive end prospect. He has a really good profile. He was very productive in college. He dominated the Senior Bowl, and I think at the end of the day, he's going to end up being a day one selection in the NFL draft. We're on the clock here at 21 with the Chargers. By all accounts, it sounds like Keenan Allen is really going to be out of the door this year. This team needs wide receiver help regardless, so we're going to take Jordan Addison here for Justin Herbert. He's a shifty separator. He can play the boundary. He's got some good yak ability, and I think this price is pretty fair for a player like Jordan Addison. The easy answer here for the Ravens would just be to take Zay Flowers. It's so on brand just to take a day one wide receiver for this team, but we're going to switch it up, and we're going to take a freaky edge player. Nolan Smith is going to fit into that defense perfectly. That team was rolling out JPP last year. They just really need to improve on the edge. That's a position that they've been so strong at for so long. We can always address wide receiver later. They could get one in free agency, maybe day 2 in the draft, but we're going to take Nolan Smith here, as I feel like he's definitely a day 1 prospect. The Vikings are going to take a cornerback here, and we're going to actually have the debut of Emmanuel Forbes in our mock. This is a player that I just did a tape review on my channel. I pretty much fell in love with what I saw on tape. I think he's a really good player. He'll probably end up grading out similar to like a Kyer Elam or Trent McDuffie of last year. The Vikings just really need a cornerback, and I don't believe Patrick Peterson's going back to the Vikings. I could be wrong, but regardless, he is up there in age. Here at pick 24, we're on the clock with the Jaguars. They're going to take Brian Branch, who is a very versatile defensive player. He can play free safety, strong safety. The majority of his snaps came as a slot corner, and he just has some very elite, dominant tape. He's a super impressive prospect. He's going to be able to step in immediately and improve that pass defense, as well as help in the run defense on a team that just had 0 pass defense the entire year. The Giants need a wide receiver, and there's no better wide receiver on the board than Zay Flowers here. The scouts love him. I love him. And if Daniel Jones is going to be your guy, you're going to need someone who can create after the catch, and Zay makes it really easy on the quarterbacks. I don't have a first round grade on Jalen Hyatt, but there might not be a faster guy in the draft than Jalen Hyatt. The Cowboys offense was desperate for speed. They needed a wide receiver too to complement CeeDee Lamb, and I think Jalen Hyatt can go ahead and open up the offense for them a whole bunch. He's probably going to run very low 4-3s, possibly even in the 4-2s, and that's just what the Cowboys offense needs. We're on the clock with the Bills. I have continuously taken tackle for this team, and I think we could really take a right tackle here, but we're going to have some fun with it. We're going to take Bijan. He's going to go to the Bills. This team's been looking for a bell cow running back forever now. I know they have James Cook. They've got Devin Singletary. They traded for Nyheim Hines, but there might not be a better offensive player in this entire draft than Bijan Robinson. I'm going to take a tackle for the Bengals here. Anton Harrison is too good here at 28, but Joe Burrow's just going to get his franchise left tackle here, and we're going to forget about Jonah Williams. Now, the Saints might be getting Derek Carr. He's interviewed with them a few different times now. This team's cap space is kind of a mess. They need talent all over the place, but we're going to hop on some draft buzz here. Elijah Cansey from Pittsburgh, they're claiming is like the next Aaron Donald. He comes in at like 6 foot, 280 pounds as a defensive tackle. Now he has really good sack production. He really just excels at getting after the quarterback from the interior defensive line, and he's probably going to end up being a day one selection. We're on the clock here with the Eagles. Their linebackers just got absolutely dominated in the Super Bowl, so we're going to take a really good linebacker prospect here in Trenton Simpson, somebody who has very good speed. He also has experience rushing the passer. He's just been a productive linebacker for the Clemson Tigers for a while now, and we're going to take him here at pick 30, and he's going to be able to start immediately. With the final pick of the draft, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to go ahead and take Josh Downs. I accidentally clicked through that screen, but the Kansas City Chiefs are going to take Josh Downs. They just really need a wide receiver. I think Josh Downs is a borderline day one guy. I'm not sure what the scouts think of him right now, but I think he's going to blow up the combine. We're just getting a position of need here. Anyways, a quick recap here for you. The Raiders traded up to the first overall to take Bryce Young. CJ Stroud goes second overall to the Texans. Will Levis gets overdrafted to the Colts here at 4. Jalen Carter's a steal for the Seahawks at 5. Anthony Richardson goes 9th overall to the Panthers. The Jets trade for Aaron Rodgers. The Packers go and get JSM with the 13th overall pick. Emmanuel Forbes makes it in the first round. Daniel Jones gets his wide receiver in Zay Flowers. We get some speed on the Cowboys offense with Jalen Hyatt. Everyone's favorite fantasy pick right here, Bijan to the Bills. Joe Burrow gets himself a franchise left tackle. We get Elijah Cansey in the first round here for the Saints. And then Josh Downs finishes off the first round for us. Patrick Mahomes gets a shifty, good wide receiver, and I'm excited to see what that offense looks like. All right, fellas, that's all I have for you today. We like to keep things fresh. We don't like to fall in the same ruts of taking the same players for every team. We don't want to look like every other YouTube video you watch. We like to throw out new ideas, switch things up, and at the end of the day, these mock drafts are just fun. We probably shouldn't even be doing these before free agency anyway, but this is what keeps us alive during the offseason. Hopefully I got you guys' team every player that you guys wanted, and if not, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.